When it comes to animals, we've settled the basic issue. All 50 states have anti-cruelty statutes that codify the notion that cruelty to animals is wrong. It's a moral problem, it is a legal problem. It's a felony in every state to harm animals maliciously. Dogfighting is a felony in every state. General acts of cruelty are a felony in just about every state. And in 40 or 50 states, it's a felony to engage in cockfighting. Well, if we already recognize that animals have interests and that we need to restrain our behavior to recognize the integrity of these individuals, then how can we not logically apply these same principles to factory farming settings and animal testing laboratories and other settings where the use of animals has become normalized and it's become institutionalized and somehow is legal? That still doesn't make it morally right. We've got to be more rigorous in our thinking about addressing all of these wide ranges of problems. And we've got to get on with compassionate living. We've got to live our lives like our choices matter. We're not just economic engines doing our thing. You know, we're not those automatons without oxytocin. We do care about social interaction. We need interaction with other people to feel whole and complete. Well, we need to interact with animals in a way that's proper and good in order to feel whole and complete. When we have more cruelty to animals, we have all sorts of collateral impacts on society. When we're bad to animals on factory farms, it's not just the animals who are victims, but the environment is often in trouble, and there are public health problems, there are personal health problems, there are loss of rural communities because the factory farms gobble up the small farms. When we see dog fighting in our communities, we don't see people who are just generally fighting dogs that are great, upstanding citizens. Do you know a lot of other very successful dog fighters? I don't think so. This is an attitude where there's a loss of empathy, and then it spills out in other ways into society. Now, we hope we can redeem people. We don't want people to just be in a static place and then be that way forever. We want people to grow. I love when we have ex-trophy hunters who join us in protecting wildlife. And I love when we have ex-ranchers who join us and become some of the best advocates for farm animals. All of that, to me, is about the personal progress and the progress of a society. You know, we're not just taking the situation as static. We want everyone to be better. So that's what I talk about in my book, and I really wrote it to have a national conversation about food policy, to have a national conversation about compassionate living, and to help build a better and more humane society. So I'm really grateful for all of you for not being bystanders in this process. You know, there are a lot of people who are living their life and they're not so alert to the suffering of animals. They're not aware of their responsibilities. But it was always a smaller group of people who raised these issues and reminded the rest of society about their responsibility. So it's a very important issue to me. It's a life passion for me. It burns in my heart. It always has, and I know for so many of you it does as well. And at the end of the day, while we have so many challenges and so many hurdles, I think that the winds of history are blowing in our direction. The people who are defending these activities that are so wrong, they're excuse-making and they're rationalizing, and ultimately their arguments are going to break down. Just like when we had a battle here in California over Prop 2, the confinement, the extreme confinement of field calves and breeding sows and laying hens, the industry threw all sorts of arguments. They said that, you know, the animals, you know, shouldn't get out of their cages. It's going to be unsafe for them to be out of their cages. And they said that, you know, your food prices are going to go up. And they said that farmers are going to go out of business. Well, the reality is change occurs. And the world must address these issues in an honest sort of way. And when the votes were all counted, more people voted for Prop 2 than they did for any citizen initiative in American history.